Hello and welcome everybody, it's Karen. I have been having so much fun today. I'm playing with the Blimey Pirates stamp set from Whimsy Stamps, and these make some fantastic, snarky, fun, masculine cards, I think. So I've colored those skeletons. There's almost no coloring required. And I'm going to make a couple of swing fold cards today. So I've got a 10 by 6 inch tall piece of cardstock that I'm scoring right down the middle at 5 inches. And then I've marked off the halfway point on the right-hand side. So that's at 2.5 inches, and I just penciled in a line. Now I've got that wavy pierced rectangle die, and I have centered it on that one half of the card. And I'm only going to partially die cut this. So I'm taping it right along the edge of my cutting plate, as you can see there. And then I will sandwich that with the other plate and cut it. And so now you're left with this partial die cut. Now we want to score at the top and the bottom. So that's at the 7.5 inch mark. And I'm just going up and down where I've penciled it in anyway. And then you can erase that pencil line. And so now we can fold it. So in the middle, we're going to just fold it into a mountain fold. And you want to really burnish these lines and really try to get everything to fold down as flat as you can. Now this front piece will fold back on itself, so back to the other side, and then really burnish that as well. So now when you open it, you get this swing action. And so the front can have one scene and the inside a different one. And I love that. I love it when you have a surprise on the inside of a card. So I've used the same die and just cut a scrap piece of cardstock that I've ink blended to make my sky. And I can now glue that in place and just make sure that it's all lined up on both edges of that rectangle, I guess. So there, I'm just trying to make sure I've got it all centered. And so now you get a little bit on the outside like that, but most of it is on the inside. Now I've used the Build an Island die set, just this palm tree piece, and I've die cut it out. I left a bit at the bottom, and then I used that same pierced rectangle edge to die cut the bottom edge of that. And I've colored it up. I've stamped on that Shiver Me Timbers from that pirate stamp set. Now I'm just showing you there that my trees extend past, but you don't want to glue those down. So I'm only gluing the middle of this island piece down, and it'll extend past on the left and the right, but don't add glue to those edges of the trees. Now I've made this little X marks the spot flag. I used the R accessories die set. It was just this label that goes on the rum bottle. And it already had the X's in it, so I just cut it off between one of those, and then I'm going to tuck it into the sand here, just to build up a little bit on the pirate scene. Sticking that in underneath, and now I've stamped out that yo-ho-ho stamp, and I've fussy cut it out, and then I've popped it up on some foam tape, and that will go on the front of my card. So you can add a bit of dimension to the front for sure. But I wouldn't on the inside just because it won't stick down as well. Now you can see that my palm tree extends past a bit on the left, and that's totally okay. It still goes flat. Now this is from the R word and shadow die set. And I just cut that out of black cardstock and white backing. And you could see I stamped that sentiment down on the bottom. Now I wanted this hook to go on, so I'm just cutting between the bone and the hat on this little pirate, just so I can tuck this hook in behind his hat. I don't know why, I just thought that would be kind of fun to have his hook hanging off that bone. So then I could glue all of that together as one piece and stuck it down onto the inside of my card. You have to admit, those are fun sentiments, and for a guy, I think this is kind of fun. So now that was the card, but when I looked at it, so it's really fun that you open it and there's something different on the inside, but it still looked a little boring to me on the front on those. It looked plain, so I just cut some strips of black cardstock, and I'm going to stick those down on the outside edges. and I'll trim that off. And then it adds just a little bit more to it, so when you open it up, it's a bit more black and white. So I'm doing a second card for you here. So again, I'm scoring it at 5 inches. Now this time I'm using the nested hexagon die set, and I'm just going to tack my die in place. Now I'm centering it on that right hand half of the card, and I'm just going to score down at 7.5 inches to the die, and then flip it around because it's easier and score it at 2.5 inches. So that's halfway to the 5-inch mark. So I know that's the center of the front. And again, I'll only partially die cut it, so I'm only putting that first section underneath my cutting plate. And again, I'm tacking that right down to my cutting plate, just so it doesn't wiggle and move. And then I will sandwich that with the other plate and run it through my die cutting machine. And so here it is when it comes out. So again, I'm going to fold that. So you could choose to use any die that you have for this center cut. I just would choose a fairly symmetrical die. I think that would work better. But it could be a circle, it could be a square, it could be whatever you've got, but just partial die cut on the one side. And then when you open it, it has that magical swing. Okay, so I've got a couple of pieces of cardstock from the Mermaid paper pack, and I've die cut this one with the hexagon, the same shape or sized hexagon as I used for the opening, so that will go on there. But I wanted a little bit more on this one. I wanted a bit more color. So I've cut a 2.5 inch wide piece of this particular paper, and I'm going to tack that on now to this card front, because I need to cut out that hexagon part. And you could probably put your die down, but I just find this is easier. I just turned it to the back and penciled in where the hexagon was. And then you can remove that, and then I just cut that out with my scissors. Just made it a little bit easier than figuring out where to go with the die. So I'm going to glue that right down to the front of my card now. And then I've got some glue on that hexagon, hopefully only on the hexagon, and I can attach this piece. Now you just want to be sure that you get it through that opening, that it actually goes underneath that first flap on the front, and then just line the edges up. Now I felt like I wanted a bit more to frame that up, so I've die cut a hexagon out of some darker blue. I just used the larger hexagon die and the one I had used on the inside, and I did cut this apart because I thought it's not going to fold very well. Like I thought I'd run into more troubles folding it, so I just cut it in half, and then I'm gluing it on the front and again onto the back on the inside here. Now, I wanted a little more sand at the bottom, so I am just taking a couple of Copic markers and I'm just adding in a bit of that sand. It's just, you don't see it very much, but I just wanted a little bit more of the yellowy sand at the bottom. And I've cut a few of the accessories from the R Accessories die set, but I'm going to show you here. If you tack your sentiment over on the left, so it's overhanging the left, that won't open very well. So I wouldn't attach it there at all. But if you put it on the right, you can open this and it won't, you'll see it on the left there, but it opens fully. Whereas if you put it on the left side, it just won't. So I wanted this little peg leg to sort of go tuck in behind that, and that's totally okay. So I'm going to glue that and stick it down underneath that flap. So it'll show behind the front left flap, but it doesn't impede anything. Now I wanted the hook to be hooking onto that bottle of rum, so I'm actually just tacking down that hook, and then I will put some glue on the back of my bottle, and I'm hooking them together at that point. And now I need to glue this, but only on that hexagon on the left. So I flip it over so you can see where that line is. And I just add glue to the left side of that. And then flip it back, and then you won't have glue past where you want it to go. Now, for the inside, I'm using a slimline fence die. I stamped this sentiment first, and then I die cut it with that fence die piece and colored it in. And so I'm just kind of positioning everything here. I lost a bit of footage, but for that plank, you'll see I wanted it cut off on the left, so I just glued it down here and then just fussy cut that out along that hexagon line. So you can see there it's cut out. And that's all I did with that. But isn't that fun though? Those sentiments are so fun for a man. I think they're really quite fun. So there you go. It stands up really well. And it's got the front side, which kind of was nice, and then the inside that's not so nice, a little bit snarky. So I just love that. I thought that was cute. So there they are again, the first one and the second one. So I hope that's given you guys a little bit of inspiration on how to use that stamp set, because it really is a fun one. I can see using this one again. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you again next time. Bye.